Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Limata. When all your dreams come true. Oh, it brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning, and welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Wednesday, wherever you're joining us from today. Glad that we are here together. Amazing books, amazing lineup that we have this week, and I hope that you've been enjoying it. And of course, I hope that you are ready for more to come. Thank you so much for being here with us, and I am glad that you're here. Please, as always, let us know where you're joining in from, whether you're joining us live right now or indeed joining us later on for the recordings. Please do let us know where you are and indeed how you're doing and how the weather is like where you are. Thank you so much for joining in, and I'm glad that we are here together. And of course, too, lots to celebrate this week, lots to celebrate today as well. But we start off with Angela Darton's new book. Yes, this one is out right now. To Boldly Go: How Nichols and Star Trek helped advance civil rights. That one is illustrated by Lauren Summer, and you can see them both here on Storytime on Friday. So please do join us then too, and get to see Angela and Lauren Summer read for us, and of course in conversation with us as well about their new book and about life in general. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Congratulations to you, Angela and Lauren Summer. The book is out. It is out now. Thank you so much for joining in. Yes, big celebration, powerful book indeed. And I encourage everybody, I highly recommend it because I've enjoyed it, and you'll see for yourselves on Friday when we do read it here on Storytime. It is indeed a beautiful book with a powerful message. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today, and glad that you are here. And of course, many amazing books to come. So far, we've enjoyed Head to Head and also Marvelous Cornelius, of course, on Monday. But 3 more to come, including today's book, The Art of Protest. This one coming up very shortly. Yes, we'll be reading this one. I actually like this book. Not just the message in it, but also just the feel of it. It is one of those tough books. It feels, you can feel that like it is a almost like a board book, but yeah, really cool, really strong, really durable. Many times it's been in my backpack and somehow it has survived. Thank you so much for joining in. But of course, a big thank you indeed to CANDLEWICK Press for allowing us to read this book here on Storytime. And of course, a big thank you to D. Nichols for this creation, and illustrators Diana DAGADITA, Molly Mendoza, Olivia Twist, SADDO, and of course, Diego BECAS. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. Absolutely love it that we are here together. And of course, we'll be honing our skills of protest. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime, and glad we are here together. Please let us know you are here so we can say good morning to you. And of course, today we do have our shot from Egmont out on the Sunshine Coast in British Columbia. If you've not visited yet, put it on your list. Beautiful place to hike and just marvelous scenes. So absolutely check it out if you can. Thank you so much for joining us on Storytime. Who is with us this morning, ready to enjoy a wonderful story? Good morning to you, Sarah and Nathan, out in rainy Illinois today. Well, thank you so much for being here with us on Storytime. Appreciate you and glad that we are here together. Another story, another fun day ahead. Thank you so much for joining us. And one of the things I like about this book is that it has a try this section, so you can try some of the art that is talked about in here. It has specifically designed pieces. Say this part here, it says try this, and then it gives you prompts and ideas on something that you could create at home, your own protest art at home. Thank you so much for joining in. Yes, think of those causes that you care about and see what can be done. Thank you so much for joining in today. I'm glad that we are here. And yes, good to see you. Sarah and Nathan, one more time. Hugs, hugs, hugs to you. And to everybody that joins us for the recordings and never quite makes it to the lives because of the time we're here, we thank you and we hope that you do enjoy the videos as well. And of course, thank you. Thank you. I'm thinking in particular, Betty Graydon out in Florida, sending you extra love. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. All right. We'll be right back after this short break for our story for today. I hope that you are ready. Go grab what you need. Coming right up, Art of Protest by D. Nichols. Thank you so much for being here with us. And one more time, we continue to celebrate Angela Dalton's amazing book that is out now.
Hello, Storytime friends. My name is Angela Dalton, and I'm an author of picture books. Some you may have even seen read right here on Storytime with Mr. Limata. I'm excited to tell you about my brand new picture book called To Boldly Go, How Nichols and Star Trek Help Advance Civil Rights. It comes out January 17th, and it's an amazing story about the legendary Nichols and her role on Star Trek, which she left until a very special person reminded her about the impact that she was making, not just on television, but around the world. And I'm excited to tell you that myself and Lauren Semmer, the illustrator, will be coming here on January 20th to read the book to you and to answer any questions that you might have and to tell you a little bit about the book and how we came up with the idea for it. I hope that you'll join us again on January 20th right here in Storytime with Mr. Limata. Until then, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about me, please visit me at angeladalton.com. Okay, now we got to get back to the story today on Storytime with Mr. Limata. I hope you're enjoying it. I know I am. Okay, see you soon. Bye.
Welcome back indeed. Thank you, Angela Dalton. Congratulations on your brand new book. Yes, To Boldly Go, How Nichols and Star Trek helped advance civil rights. Yes, indeed. Do check it out. It is out now. Thank you so much for joining in. Ask for it at your local library. Good morning to you, Sharon Lungo and Soraya. Thank you for joining us from right here in Oakland. I hope that you are having a wonderful week so far and good to see you here. Of course, missed everybody yesterday, but I hope that you did enjoy our pre-recorded story. And of course, we're back. We're here today, live. Storytime. Remember too that you can find us live 7 a.m. Pacific time right here on Storytime, but also on the Storytime platforms, but also you can catch us at storytimewithmrlimata.com at any time you please. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Get ready for our story. This one is called Art of Protest, Creating, Discovering, and Activating Art for Your Revolution. Yes, creating, discovering, and activating art for your revolution. So many causes to think about out there, and of course, so many spaces that we need to take our art, our protest art. And I must say too, Timothy Dixon, or the Soapbox Salute that composed and wrote the Storytime theme song, does protest art music. If you have not checked him out, please do check him out at the soapboxsalute.com. Amazing music. All right, here we go. Art of Protest. This one is written by D. Nichols It is written by D. Nichols, illustrations by Diana DAGADITA, SADDO, Olivia Twist, Molly Mendoza, and Diego BECAS. And of course, we are reading this one with permission of CANDLEWICK Press. Thank you indeed for allowing us to share this wonderful book. There's so much information in this book. We'll only get to read a tiny bit, but I hope that you can find it at your local library or you find books and get to dive in some more. And this quote here too from Keith Haring, just powerful indeed. Art is nothing if you don't reach every segment of the people. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that? Art is nothing if you don't reach every segment of the people. Something to think about. Maybe we agree, maybe not. And there are several in the table of content, several topics in there. And this one is my favorite for sure. Youth leadership and protest art around the world. Yes, young people have been leading so many things. And if you remember last time we read this book, we read about Elijah Lewis. Oh, John Lewis, sorry. We talked about John Lewis. And we were like, why are we reading about John Lewis? He's old, he's older. But remember that when he started, and most of these people, when they started this work, they were young. The young people, like John Lewis, for example, was a teenager. And so just something to think about. Youth leaders, youths have led movements for so long. And young people, I hope that before we end, we can read this one here. Over to you. Yes. You're already doing an amazing job. I think it's time we hand the baton fully. All right, so we're going to start why art matters. And of course, we're going to read the story of D. Nichols themselves and just to understand a little bit of where they're coming from and how this book came about. All right, introduction. When I was a kid growing up in Mississippi and Tennessee, I learned pretty early about social injustices that exist in the world. Yeah, same growing up in Zambia too. So much learned very early on. You saw all the injustices that were going on. And sometimes it was just part of your world, but that does not make it right. Right? I remember defending myself against bullies who did not like me because of my dark skin. I recall watching my favorite TV shows and learning about South African apartheid, police brutality, the global AIDS crisis, and historic movements for civil rights through episodes that dared to highlight these causes. As I recognized the power of the media in expanding my knowledge, I began to create art in my teens that reflected the issues happening around me. 9/11, Hurricane Katrina, and Jena 6 trials. And by the time I found myself as an arts organizer on the ground in the 2014 Ferguson uprising, I felt equipped with the experience to deploy art as a way of bringing people together to raise our collective voices. Isn't that powerful? Throughout this book, you will learn the art of protest through the many artworks, experiences, and campaigns that have been created across the world to protest social injustices and advocate for the rights and liberties of diverse communities. You will learn a bit of my story as well as the stories of others, leaders, artists, youth, and everyday people like yourselves, who have used art as a tool for organizing communities and catalyzing change. However, I hope you will also learn the art of protesting. Tips and strategies are shared throughout this book to help you exercise creative ways to mindfully organize, create, and protest with others. Suggested art activities range from writing sample protest signs to designing banners, building sculptures, and organizing flash mobs, and making cause-specific artworks. With this, you might be more compelled to raise your voice about the issues, causes, and global concerns that matter to you. Our society constantly experiences waves of social movements, campaigns for justice, and fights against climate issues and diseases on a global scale. And no matter where you live, or what language you speak, or what cause you choose, it is my hope that this book will encourage and equip you to use art as language and instrument that can help you champion your chosen cause. Yes, we hope that this book helps you, compels you, encourages you to use art as a language and instrument that can help you champion your chosen cause. Yes. Love that. So we're going to look at this part first. Why art matters in social movements. Right? Here we go. Why does art matter in social movements? My story as an activist in Ferguson. On August 9, 2014, my life, like those of many in my home city of St. Louis, Missouri, was forever changed when I learned that a teenager had been killed by a police officer while walking along the streets of his grandmother's neighborhood. His name was Michael Brown Jr., and his body lay in the street for 4.5 hours as news media captured photos and people crowded around in dismay. Over the days that followed, hundreds of people began to march in protest across the small municipality of Ferguson, Missouri, where he lived. I was one of them, and after daily and soon nightly protesting, I wanted to do something more. At that time, I was an educator at our local contemporary art museum. I had just finished graduate school in social work, and I'd been active as a community-based artist and designer in collaboration with the schools, neighborhoods, and the artists all across the region. In response to the Ferguson uprising, I created a digital platform called Connected for Justice that helped allies donate and distribute resources to people on the ground. I also collaborated with a photographer to develop Faces of the Movement, a photographic series that dignified and amplified the stories of people involved in the uprising. And my best friend Sophie and I even went door to door across Ferguson recording United Story, a video series of stories featuring neighbors and families whose streets and homes became central to the growing protests. Others in our activist collective created works that amplified movement slogans like "Hands Up, Don't Shoot," performed flash mobs, and placed guerrilla installations in public spaces to help spread the message of the protests. Some amazing work indeed. And one of the things that I like and want to highlight here, D. Nichols here mentions that with allies to distribute resources, I also collaborated with a photographer to develop Faces of the Movement, a photographic series that dignified and amplified the stories of the people involved in the uprising. And I think that's really clever and very important, because we know that the mainstream media, as it's called, tends to have a lens that they look at things, and usually that's what we're going to get. That's what you're going to get. So I'm glad that D. Nichols thought of this idea to tell the stories, to let the protesters tell the story, their story of protesting. I think that's very powerful, because then you're getting the genuine and real story and the real people behind these protests, because at times mainstream media just tends to focus on all the negativity of it and forgetting the main reason why, the root cause of this, why people are up and protesting. So yeah, something to think about. But there you go, why art matters in social movements. You can see so many things that have been created in just this one little bit that we read. And then let's go, because of time too, there's so much to explore in here, but because of time, and I want us to really get into the youth movement. So let us go to youth leadership and protest art around the world. And let's read some of that. And how about maybe we read youth-led movements? Let's go with that. Page 46. Youth-led movements. And we'll be coming back. There's so much more. Let's read a little bit on this youth-led movements, and then we're going to skip over. Last time we read on South Africa and the apartheid, and this time we're going to jump and read the umbrella movement. All right, here we go. Youth-led movements. From civil rights to Black Lives Matter. John Lewis was a teenager when he began to dedicate his life to the struggle for racial equality in the United States. As a young man, he worked as a leader of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, joining with other young people to put themselves on the line in the fight for desegregation in the South. In 1965, he was among the marchers badly beaten by police officers at the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. He went on to serve as a representative in Congress for his home state of Georgia for 33 years, from 1987 until his death in 2020, and remained a tireless fighter for racial justice throughout his life. That powerful. And I think I mentioned too last time, if you've not seen the movie Selma, something to check out and see some of these details highlighted in there. Of course, as with movies, there's always, there's bits that we take with it to your salt, but it still highlights quite a lot. Yeah, just something to think about. Or even think of, just on Monday was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and just think of how young he was, right? How young he was, and even how young he was when he died. And I think of that all the time. All right, so let's look at the umbrella movement. What was it? What is it? After being held as a British territory for a century, Hong Kong was returned to Chinese rule in 1997. Although the territory was meant to maintain its autonomy, a series of restrictions on democratic processes followed. In 2014, a process was imposed that restricted candidates for office to those who had been screened by Chinese authorities. In response, university students led a strike and a series of protests. They practiced civil disobedience by staging sit-ins at government buildings and by marching in public squares and streets, often banging pots and pans. Protesters carried umbrellas to shield themselves from tear gas and other aggressive police tactics, and the umbrellas became a symbol of their resistance, a name for their movement, and a basis of their protest art. They wrote messages on umbrellas, placed them in the hands of public statues, created canopies of umbrellas that had been broken by police, and used them in other public installations. The initial wave of protests lasted for 79 days. A second wave began in 2019 in protest against a new law allowing the Hong Kong government to send suspect activists to mainland China to face trial. The student-led resistance has been severely quashed, but carries on. Yeah. And that's one of the things with protests too, with protesting and fighting for what's right. It's not easy. It's hard. And as you can see here, like there's the powers that be that want the status quo to remain will do everything to quash, to intimidate. But you know what? We continue to fight. Don't give up. Umbrella movement. Now let us read another piece that I wanted to highlight as well. And we do have some climate activists. And I wanted to read about this young person, and her name is Vanessa Nakate. Let's read about Vanessa's story, and then we'll read one more bit before we close. Over to you, of course. Young climate activists. The number of young activists across the world is rising. Their collective work has been described as the most remarkable and important mass movement of our age. In 2019, the first ever UN Youth Climate Summit was held, and the same year marked the formation of the Extinction Rebellion Youth, known as XRY, a group of environmental activists under the age of 30. From local to global initiatives, young campaigners are coming together to demonstrate for action against climate change and to share visions of a fairer, safer, cleaner world. In this section, we meet the children of the climate revolution. And our story for today, for one of the people we're going to amplify, is Vanessa Nakate. What's the story? We cannot eat coal, we cannot drink oil. Ugandan activist Vanessa Nakate is the founder of the climate action groups Youth for Future Africa and the Rise Up movement, which aim to amplify the voices of African activists. She was inspired to take action after noticing rising temperatures in her country and has campaigned tirelessly for change across the continent, including for the protection of the Congo rainforest. Yeah. Yes, and so true, Amanda. Indeed, you say, I love John Lewis' reminder to get in good trouble, necessary trouble. And books like this are so important to help us teach our present and our future of the nuance between fighting for trouble and fighting for good and necessary trouble. Oh, my goodness. Quote of the day for sure. Thank you so much. I really love that. Thank you for sharing that, Sarah, Nathan, and of course, Amanda out there. Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Yeah. And so that is about Vanessa Nakate. Well, let us see how much time we have, and then we can go into our next bit. But this one is over to you, right? This one we're going to close on. But of course, there's so many more, so many, even of the young people. We've only read about one, but I'm sure you can think of some already on your own. And over to you. And this part says, our world right now is ripe for change, for progress, and for new ideas of what tomorrow can bring. As we continue to fight for racial justice, environmental sustainability, economic fairness, LGBTQ+ rights, public health, and so much more, our collective well-being depends on people rising up with vision, leadership, and unity to demand more of our existing systems and set a solid path forward to unlock new possibilities. True. I believe that the artists are those visionaries, and I believe in the voice and collective power of protesters and activists to steer us on this hopeful journey. As you have read the stories, witnessed the artworks, and learned the skills shared in this book, it is my deepest desire that you have been equipped and inspired to become a creative warrior, an activist in your community. I hope that you have been guided in identifying the causes you care about and sharpening your creative muscles to take action through art making. And finally, if nothing else, I hope this book has helped you understand and believe in the power of art as protest. D. Nichols. Over to you, young people. Over to you, Sarah and Nathan. Over to you, Soraya. Over to you, all the young people that join us here on Storytime. And we know you can do it. And this has been our story for today. So much in here, but of course we'll come back and have a little conversation, and then of course we'll be able to say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today, and I'll see you on the other side of this short message. Thank you for being here with us on Storytime.
Hi, friends. I hope you're enjoying today's story on Storytime with Mr. Limata. I know I am. My name is Angela Dalton, and I'm the author of picture books, including If You Look Up to the Sky, Show the World, and Ruby's Reunion Day Dinner, all of which you can hear Mr. Limata read right here on Storytime with Mr. Limata. I hope you continue to enjoy today's story, and I hope to see you soon. Okay, bye.
Welcome back indeed. Thank you, Angela Dalton. And of course, as you know, we're celebrating Angela Dalton's new book. And you know what? I actually have a copy now. Ooh, this one, To Boldly Go. It is out. How Nichols and Star Trek helped advance the civil rights movement. And we'll be reading this one on Friday. And of course, having conversations with Angela and Lauren Summer. So please do join us on Friday. But of course, today we were reading Art of Protest, and I hope that you enjoyed this one. The full title is Art of Protest: Creating, Discovering, and Activating Art for Your Revolution. And this one is written by D. Nichols, illustrated by Diana DAGADITA, Molly Mendoza, Olivia Twist, SADDO, and Diego BECAS. And of course, we're reading this one with permission of CANDLEWICK Press. A big thank you to them indeed for allowing us to share such a lovely book here on Storytime. Thank you so much for being here, friends. Absolutely appreciate you. Tomorrow, we'll look at another big topic, important topic in this one. Killer underwear invasion. This one from Elise Gravo. You know you're in for a treat. Funny, quirky, everything. But this one will be how to spot fake news, disinformation, and conspiracy theories. So do join in tomorrow. Yes, critical thinking in hand, and we're going to be diving into these important issues. Yes, indeed. How do we identify fake news? Why is fake news dangerous? Disinformation, what is that? And of course, conspiracy theories. How do we identify them? How do we spot them? And of course, how do we avoid them? Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Powerful topics tomorrow. Just to share with you too here, before we go, just to show you there's so much. Those are some of the things that we'll be covering tomorrow. Why is disinformation such a bad thing? Why do we believe fake news? How to tell real news from fake news, among others. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I hope you're excited for this one tomorrow. Killer underwear invasion coming up tomorrow. Elise Gravo. And of course, a big thank you to Chronicle Books for allowing us to share that one. This has been Storytime for today, friends. This has been Storytime for this wonderful Wednesday. I hope that you've been activated. Think about those protests, those causes in your neighborhood, in the world, causes that you care about, that you want to do something about, and create the art, design that art, and see, put it out there. Let it be heard. Let your voice be heard. It matters. It counts. It is very important. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. Absolutely appreciate you. And I hope that you do indeed have a lovely week. And of course, in the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King, may we continue to fight for justice. May we continue to fight for what's right. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. And I think just as you put it, I'll end with this one today. Thank you indeed for putting this out. And I just want to read it one more time. Say, I love John Lewis' reminder to get in good trouble, necessary trouble. And books like this are so important to help us teach our present and future of the nuance between fighting for trouble and fighting for good and necessary trouble. Thank you so much, Amanda West, and of course, Sarah and Nathan for sharing that one with us. Thank you for joining in, Soraya and Sharon Lungo, and you're saying great book. It is a wonderful book, powerful book. I hope that indeed you can get a copy from the library or indeed where you get books. And of course, Soraya, since you're so close to me right here in Oakland, I do have an extra copy of this one. So if you ever have time, let me know, Sharon Lungo, and we'll pass on that copy to you. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely appreciate each and every one of you. I send you with love, love, love to go out today and indeed find that cause, create the art, and indeed let your voice be heard. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Much love from me. I'll see you again tomorrow when we are back for Killer Underwear Invasion. Tomorrow, join me. Thank you so much for being here, friends. Much love from me. Bye-bye.
Story time with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all reading? I just can't wait to be hearing. Read me all of the stories. Read me all of the stories. Some stories from far away, others right here in my neighborhood. Story time. Ooh. Story time. Story time with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing.